until nations. What does that mean? What do you think it means?
That word's like freedom from all.
What?
People.
Say again?
Freedom for all people.
What does light represent?
It represents freedom over darkness.
Hold on, what? Goodness, okay.
Right. Now let's say you're in a dark room, okay? And you have to go from one side of the room to the other. And some person lights a candle. What do you do to that person that lights the candle? You what? Who said that? You follow, right. So Israel is, when we say a light unto the nations, wants to be a nation which people follow it, right? We want to be advanced in humanitarian and moral actions and being a good place and have people look up to us as that, right? That's why when remember guys, I showed you a couple videos of like Israel going to places where there were like pretty bad natural disasters, and they set up like the best medical centers, and they went to Nepal and they went to the Philippines. Like they went everywhere because this is something that they believe in. Because, and a very important concept is, we experience the pain of the Holocaust and we don't want that to happen to other people. Unfortunately, it does. This world unfortunately has a lot of bad things happening. But Israel, I would say, does its best to try not allow that to everyone. All right, so those two things, one is Israel being a society that protects people, protects its own, protects the Jews, plus being a light unto the nations. Those are two main things you have to understand about Israel if you want to understand what Israel is, right? I don't know how much you guys are up onto the politics or what happens. You know, just as an example, there have been multiple times in Israel's history where Israel would exchange the body of dead soldiers or dead Israeli citizens that were in the hands of their captors for live terrorists, right? So people who went out and killed Jewish people in Israel were exchanged for Israelis who were already killed and dead. And people always question, why is it that they do it? It's so stupid. These people are dead already. Why would you exchange that? And the answer is because it's a moral country. It's a very moral country that does things in a very moral way. All right, so you have to understand these things. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to get started. Okay, what I'd like you to do is we're on number 7, when did Israel begin? So we're going to ask a question about when did Israel begin. Okay, you're going to click on this link. It's going to take you to a lino. Okay, and what I'd like you to do, when did Israel begin? Vote on one of the events below by writing your name and explain why. So there's all these different captions of when Israel could have begun, right? There's things from the Bible, and I want you to read all of them and then explain why you think specifically one is the time when Israel started. Okay, so let's get started. Everyone has the link there. You guys should take 3-4 minutes to do this.
You can see it on screens.
All right, let's take another 3 minutes, guys. Everybody should be reading all of them. When did Israel begin? You guys can watch the video if you want.
How are we doing, guys? Anybody have any questions? Or you're good? Hello? Good? Thumbs up if you're good. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's take another minute and a half. We only have one sticky up so far. Thank you, Rachel. And Rachel Melly?
Yeah.
Your last name is Melly? Okay. Okay, another minute. We still only have one person who responded.
I responded.
Oh, and Freddie.
Brooke, you responded to?
Oh, we just got another one. Remember to not post on other people's stuff, please. So, Brooke Lesser, if you can move your, if you can you move it or no?
Yeah, it's just everything's showing my screen.
Are you guys using clear ones? Clear, clear stickies? They show up clear on mine for some reason.
Well, this thing is like right on top of mine. Bless you. Just shift it over. Bless you.
Okay. Freddie, thank you. Let's see.
Okay, that works. Wait, never mind. Again. Wait, never mind. We're good. Are they good? Are they appearing on other people's? Just make sure if they are.
Rachel, Brooke, great. Freddie. I still only have 3.
I'm almost done.
Okay, yeah, take your time. We're no rush. No rush, everyone. Relax. We're good.
Zach, is it snowed by you?
No. It hailed. It's been like a mix of like amazing weather and like insanely weirdly cold, which hasn't been great.
Well, ours is just cold. Today it's 68 degrees.
It's better than 9.
Well, not really.
Yeah, at least you could like ski and stuff when it's that nice. I hate snow.
Oh, we have more posts. Thank you. We have more posts.
Oh, you are?
No.
No,
Oh,
but-
Benjamin, thank you.
No.
Why, you like snow?
Okay. All right. Let's hear some of these. Okay, let's hear some of your opinions. Okay. Brooke, can you read yours, please?
I would say that Israel began when God created the world. People just didn't know where it was.
Okay. All right. Lily, do you have an answer?
Yeah. I think it was always like ours, but
You have to speak louder, please.
I think it was always like ours. It began like 1 year ago. It truly became ours when we could truly be Jewish in Israel when it became like a state. We didn't have to like fight it.
Great. Really great answer. Thank you. Let's have who just Let's have Noam.
Mine disappeared. I don't know where it is. Whoa! Someone just went underneath mine. That's me. I'm purple. Mine
Noam, yours disappeared.
Wait, yeah, who said it? I was moving it.
You see hers?
Who has a lowercase I?
Zach, you see Noam?
I mean, did she write her name on it? Did you write your name on it?
Did you put your
I
name on
found
it?
a white one.
Oh yeah, that's there. I see it.
Okay, why don't you read yours, please? Nope.
I'm a blue sticking out. I just posted mine.
Okay, guys, it's hard to hear because a lot of people are speaking at once. Okay, so why don't we have Eve? Eva, do you want to go?
1 second. Someone's on top of mine, so I can't really see it.
Okay, why don't you say your opinion though, like what you said though? It's fine.
I can't really see it.
Do you remember what you wrote or the idea?
This is really tiny. Oh, there it is.
Okay, go.
No, the person wrote it.
All right, okay, we're gonna continue because unless Eva, why don't you go?
Well, I chose for the book of Joshua. So,
Okay, why do you choose the book of Joshua?
because I said that he led the people when there was a war going on that was about to be conquered.
Okay, great. Okay, this is a very important topic because if we're not going to get into it, so we're going to get into a little bit today. But raise your hand if you've heard of the Arab-Israeli conflict. Okay, so we'll get into that. But basically, okay, let me put it like this: who were the first people living in the United States?
Other colonists.
Who were the first people living in the United States? It was.
How do I?
I want you to hear what he's saying, and I want you to answer the question.
Yeah.
The Native Americans.
Native Americans, great. Okay, so you had the Native Americans. Who came in after the Native Americans?
Christopher Columbus.
Right. Right. Sailed the ocean blue. Right. It was then sort of like the Europeans came, and then once the Europeans came, after that was America. Correct. So the United States, it's very clear, and that's why you guys have. There's still a lot of issues, not as much, which I'm interested about. Right. You had the Native Americans, the Europeans, and then the Americans. In Israel, it's much, much, much different. Israel, I don't know if it's the most, but Israel has been ruled by multiple nations. Okay? It's been ruled by the Greeks, by the Romans, by the Persians, by the Christians, by the Muslims, by the Jews, and more. So Israel, as a tiny little country, has had so many different rulers, so many people who ran the country. The question is, why does it belong to the Jewish people? Meaning, like, what right do we have to this piece of land, because that's what it is, more than someone else, more than a Greek, or more than a Roman, or more than someone, or a Palestinian, which is what we're going to get to, right? So what you guys go through, and I don't know how aware you are aware of this, you are living in the United States, but the fight that goes on with Native Americans in the United States is more or less, and are you guys aware of it? You guys just raise your hand if you're aware of it. No? Basically, Native Americans are really, really angry because the Europeans came, more or less, had a genocide, killed them basically all off, either through disease or through war. And basically the Europeans took over America. That's in a nutshell is sort of what happened. So Native Americans in the United States today, and also in Canada, I know it just sort of in Canadian terms because that's where I'm from, they're very angry because they're like, this was our land. And all of a sudden people came and took it away. And now we want it back. So there's always fights between the Native American tribes and the American government about how much land to give back, what to give to them, and all these things, right? So in Israel, it's a very similar thing. Unfortunately though, it's a lot more violent, right? So where in the United States, like you don't even know about what's going on in your own country with the Native Americans. A kid in grade 7 in Israel may have had his second cousin, in a terrorist attack.
Oh.
Right? They say in Israel, do you know what 6 degrees of separation is? 6 degrees of separation?
Oh, like the little latitude and longitude line?
I don't know about that, but basically there's a concept, and I think if this is it, and Beth, you could correct me if I'm wrong, that basically more or less every person in this world can connect to someone through 6 degrees of separation. What do I mean by that? Let's say, like, I don't know, you have a grandmother in Florida. I am connected to your grandmother through, it could be through one person or through 6 people. What, not connected like related, but meaning like I know you and you know your grandmother, and that's sort of, we're connected. Or it could be like, a sports player, like I know my dad. My dad has a best friend who works for the Toronto Raptors. He knows this person who works on the Toronto Raptors team. So we're connected through 2 people. So in Israel, do you guys understand that concept?
It's kind of like Facebook, guys.
Right.
Friends
So,
of friends.
right. Friends of friends, exactly. Mutual friends, right? So they say that every person in this world is connected through minimum of 6 mutual friends. So in Israel, think of this. Think of it like this. In Israel, they say that the maximum amount of people that are connected are 2, meaning every person in Israel is connected to someone else through 2 people, right? So I probably know someone, I'm probably connected to someone in Noam's family who lives in Herzliya, right? I am, right? Because now I know Noam and Noam knows her family, so I'm connected to the person in Israel in here.
No, connected.
Connected. That doesn't mean like I'm like best friends with them or even have met them, but we're connected. So they say in Israel, so just think of that. If you're a kid in grade 7 and you're an Israeli, right? God forbid someone should be in a terrorist attack or in a war, you are connected to them probably in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a cousin, whether it's a friend of a friend, whether it's you always hear that, oh, it's my best friend's friend, it's my best friend's uncle. It's always like that. So in Israel, because there have been so many, it's not like in America where it's so clear cut. There were Native Americans, there were Europeans, and now there's Americans. So we know that at one point the Native Americans had the land. So the question is how much to give to them, how much not to, and it becomes a big issue. But it's not really violent. In Israel, it's the opposite. In Israel, there's one people, the Jews, who say we've been here forever. And that's what was the lino board, which I just showed you guys. That lino board had quotes from the Bible and from the larger Bible, which is something, I don't know if you guys heard of the term Tanakh?
Yes, because I use it all the time.
Right. So there's the 5 books of Moses is the Bible, and then there's other books called the prophets and then the writings, which are part of it. And those books sometimes are looked at not just as spiritual religious books, but also as historical books, meaning we know for sure that at one point in time in ancient history, there was a kingdom of Judah that was in Israel. We know that. It's not like, oh, it's in a religious book, this isn't true. There was once historically a kingdom of Israel in the land of Israel, right? But the question is, all right, but there was also a Philistine, there was also a Greek, there was also a Roman, there was also this, and there's also that. So Jews, why do you think this land belongs to you? Who are you? You're just like one of many people who have lived in this country Why should you live? Why should it be your land? You guys get the question? I want to, like, I'm trying to stress it because it's a really important question you guys have to understand, right? Because it's difficult because we see Israel, oh, Israel, yeah, it's the land of the Jewish people. So why doesn't everyone sort of just accept it and let it be? Because it's not so simple. It's actually quite difficult and quite complex, right? It's not sort of just about like Arabs and Jews fighting in Israel. There's a lot more, okay? What I like to do is you guys see number 2 on, it says match the map, okay? You guys can, I'll share my screen so that you guys can see a little bit better. Okay, on my screen, you'll see, can you guys see it better?
Yeah.
Okay, so here, there are 4 maps, okay? There's 4 maps here. Guys, can you look up so that you guys can see it bigger?
Look on the screen for a second, guys. Look on the TV screen.
Right? There are 4 maps of Israel, okay? You'll see on the top left, you'll see there are dates here, okay? What I want you to do is match up which date is which map. So 1948, which one is 1948? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? So you'll see that on the bottom, it says map, you could choose A, B, C, or D, right? And you could choose which one is which. So you just pick one which you think is which you think is the correct one. Okay, let's take 2 minutes to do that.
It's not touch screen. I'm sorry, man.
I wish it was up. I wish.
I know.
Where you say the story? We picked the same one.
Yeah.
The last one.
Yeah. Wait, but technically, ow. Wait, I should try it.
I don't know what I did.
I don't know. Yep, I was
Let's take another minute.
Which one did you choose? Which one did you choose? How are you wrong? Right. Wait, was right? I think so.
Are you on the bar chart?
We have one right.
Okay, how are we doing?
2 and 5 and 4. One person didn't do it. One person didn't do it yet.
I did know. Look, there was one that I knew.
It's T. I have one. It's definitely not now. We're not trying to. I know that one. No, it's Scott. We're not talking
I'm
anymore.
really
You
turned out.
have to deceive about the size of stuff.
Ah. I really turned it to D, but I always put A.
Wait, let me see.
Did everybody submit their answers?
Maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, okay, all right. Listen up. So, okay. What did you vote for? Let's try Brooke. What did you vote for?
I will say this D.
Pardon? Can you go louder, please?
D.
Right. Why'd you choose that?
Because I knew like the third one was no, I knew the first one was look like now, so I kind of stuck with that.
Okay. You wanna continue, please, Ben?
I chose C because the first one is the smallest, like it was 1948, and then the 1 and 2 I've never seen before, so I'm guessing must have been biblical times. The third one is the one I recognize the most, so I realize it must be the one now. And the fourth one is the biggest, like it was during the 6-Day War when it conquered Cairo.
Awesome. Great. Okay. So the correct answer is, can I get drum roll, please?
C. What is that?
Backward C. It's a huh.
What is it?
What is that?
To see. Okay. All right. Why is this important? Okay. Let me go through this a bit. You know, maps are really important, even though we don't really use them so much anymore. And you're probably going to forget this in a minute. I'm still going to talk about it because it's really important. Let me just talk about what's important. Okay. This number two map, that was Israel during biblical times, meaning Israel had what you'll see, like sort of what's the same, like that part where it says like that's next to the water, that sort of stayed the same, but we had that whole area to the right of it. That's in modern times, that's Jordan, which is a country that we once had terrible relationships with. We went to war with them maybe 2-3 times. We're now with peace with them, and it's very good relationships with them, thank God. Okay, so that's what it was like. Then we go to 1. Okay, so 1 was when? 1 was 1948, correct? Okay, so in 1948, remember, there are 2 people. There are the Jews, which we're going to call Israelis for now, and then you have the Palestinian people. Okay. Now, please hear me out, because I'm trying to be as unbiased. I'm going to be objective as I can. You had two people living in Israel before 1948. 1948 was what? What was the year 1948? What happened that year?
The World War during the 1940s.
No, 1948 we became an Israeli state. 1945 the Holocaust ended. 1948 we became a modern state. Now I need to be very clear. The Jewish people, and there were Arabs who we define now as Palestinians, they were both living in Israel before 1948. Even more than that, there were Jews and Arabs, Palestinians, who have been living there for over 100 years before the state. Okay? Very, very, very important. There are two people, two nations living in Israel before 1948. Great. So what do these different colors mean? So in the first map, the orange-yellow color, that's 1948. That's what the United Nations, and I'm not going to go into definition what they are, but this world body that makes decisions about things, so sometimes that they're good at, sometimes they're not great at. The orange was given to the Jewish people, and the purple, pink were given to the Palestinian people. Are we good? Thumbs up if we understand so far. We don't understand, do we?
Yeah, thumbs up.
We were good. If you could put hands down, it's fine, right? So two people. What were the two nations living in Israel before the state? What was one? Okay, but they're not Israeli. Remember, they're Jewish, right? Israelis can only be Israeli once Israel, right? Just like Americans were not Americans until the United States of America. Okay, very important. Okay. Now, why do I say this? Why is this so important? Because we look at these as the maps get older and older. So this is 1948. Then we go to 1967. Which one was 1967? That was map D, not number 4. You'll see that we had a lot more land. All of a sudden, boom. Whoa, like where did all this land for the Palestinians go? And we're not going to go into it now, but basically there was a war called the 1967 war where and I'll do it like this, and I'll explain this in a bit. Basically, we got attacked. Israel got attacked by all the neighboring Arab countries, and we won, and we took over land. We ended up giving a lot of that land back. Okay, like we gave a lot of the land back, and this is what we have now in 2014. Hold on a second. So we got that. Okay. So this is really, really important stuff because why it ties into what I was saying before. Why is it that land is sort of like going back and forth? Why couldn't the Jews just get this entire land? Why couldn't the Palestinians get it? Because it comes back to this question of who does the land belong to? Who does it belong to? And listen, for a guy like me, who's a very big supporter of Israel, I'll be honest, I'll be the one to say it belongs, or at least a certain amount of it belongs to the Jewish people, right? But maybe for the world, or for people who who don't know as much, or who like don't take a side, like I'm not gonna lie, I take a side, I take the Israeli side, right? But right, not everybody knows this, so it's a very big question. But some of the things which I want you to remember, there have been Jewish people in Israel forever. That's a very important point, right? Jewish people have been living in Israel for as long as history we can record. Why is that important? That's important because we can say there's always been Jews in this land. So then they say, oh, why don't you move to do you know there was before 1948, there were two initiatives to move Israel to a place called Madagascar. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
The nation of Israel, the land, there was a push to get us into a place called Madagascar, which is now a movie about little raccoons doing, I like to move it, right? Like you've seen that, right? Or whatever they're called. And also, what was the other place? The one that Herzl wanted to go to. He wanted to go to, where in Africa? Where? Uganda, right? Uganda, right? Two places, right? But it's very important. Jews have always lived in Israel, always. And that plays a very significant role of why Jews get the land of Israel. Now, we may not get all of it, and we may have to divide it, but we do have a right. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to continue. If you can please go up to the top right of the haiku. And I want everyone to focus. And Beth, if you could divide them into groups, I'm going to share my screen.
Well, there's 4 guys. You 4 over here, you 4 over here.
No, well, can we do 2 and 2?
How many do you need? Just pairs?
We need 5 groups, or we could do 4 groups even.
I got 4 groups. Okay.
Okay, great. So this is what I want you guys to do. It's a little bit of math, a little bit of math, not that much, but a little bit. Okay. And here's the question: is how many Israels can fit? So in your team, I want you to figure out how many Israels can fit into this area. So for example, I gave what's it called, groups, but you guys could Beth will just. So what I want you to do is find the size of New Jersey. How big is New Jersey? Then I want you to find the size of Israel. Then I want you to find out how many Israels fit into New Jersey. So there's 5 groups. So we're going to do Australia, the entire USA, England, and California. Okay, Beth, do we have 5 groups or 4?
I have 4 groups.
That's fine. So let's say Rachel and Brooke, you guys are together?
Yeah, these 2.
Okay, you guys will do New Jersey. Eva and Noam, you'll do Australia. Max and Lily, you'll do USA. And Ben and Freddie, you'll do England. Okay? And you have to find out size of your country, size of Israel, and how many Israels fit into it. Let's take 4 minutes to do that.
Guys, you have 4 minutes to do it.
Go back to the 7, 8, 7.
You guys have to click on here. You click on here to find it. It's on the haiku. I gave you guys a link over here.
What is the test you said?
No, that's New Jersey. Yeah, we're doing New Jersey.
You guys are doing
No,
Okay.
You would just say about 10,000 miles.
7, 6. How many years are
Is it okay if they just do miles that? You don't have to do square.
Yeah, well, whatever is easiest for them.
Okay.
No, because it's in New Jersey. I'm confused. When it says how many Israels fit in, does it mean like the United States or New Jersey?
No, there's two slides. You guys are doing the slide for New Jersey.
So how many Israels would fit into New Jersey? How many could you fit? Do the math.
Million miles square.
Then you have to do the math. How many of the Israels would fit into?
8,900 miles.
Go on the slide. We already provided you the information. You don't have to do it separately. What? Why is it not?
Here, let me do it.
No, I'll just put in right now. US? So go on your slide.
You're gonna
I need to do yours.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I think you might have. Did you find it?
Yes.
No, it's giving me Texas.
You got it? Yeah. Oh yeah, you got it right. Square feet.
That's right.
Says of Israel.
Hawaii.
Wait, I'm there. No, right here.
Divide by
There's wait, Israel's right like New Jersey.
It's longer.
Divide by one.
No, it's bigger.
Israel, 10,000.
Yeah. Not.
It's about the same size.
And you have to cut it a little bit, trim it down.
So like, if I do the math 7 and I don't know,
What did
like
you say?
3/4.
Yeah.
I mean, if you round it off, and just say one. You'd say-
Okay.
I mean, granted, you have to get trimmed a little bit, but.
Israel.
Figure out.
Very good. Fast, real fast.
We're doing now.
So now that you have your information.
Equals this.
Okay, so if you guys just let's take one more minute to do this, and then you guys can look at the other countries.
What did you do?
Okay, this is wrong. This is wrong.
How are you doing? You're doing rundown?
Ew.
That's
Not what's in the hiccup, Rachel.
There was a hiccup.
Australia's own country.
No, it's not. Australia.
I'll do the words down here. You use the numbers.
What?
Just focus on Australia.
Okay, all right, okay, we're gonna continue. Guys, listen, please listen up. Okay, so it's very important. You guys have seen Israel. If you guys just look around, if you look at the different countries, the different states, the different continents, that Israel is a very relatively small place. It's like this. It's
like it'll take 3.
okay. Guys, everyone's talking. I'd like you to please stop.
It'll take 3 minutes to get around the entire border.
Excuse me. Thank you. Okay, so it's very important to know that Israel's like this really small place. Like it gets like an insane amount of news coverage, and it's a tiny little place, a really, really, really small place. Okay, and yet it's still a place that is wanted by by so many people, and a place that's appreciated and loved by a lot of different religions, nationalities, and people, and fought over, unfortunately. What I want to show you quickly, and you guys could see it on the haiku, but very important. Okay, you guys can look up here because it's more easily seeable up here. You're going to see Israel is right in between Egypt. See, it's very small. It's this little red dot is in between Egypt, Jordan. It's right here. Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Syria. It doesn't say Lebanon here. Okay. The thing here is that what's interesting about Israel's location is that it is smack in the middle of neighboring countries that really, really do not like it. Meaning, if we look back to 1948, and I want to show you the size of these countries, they're big. Egypt was at war with Israel. Syria was at war with Israel. Jordan was at war with Israel. Lebanon was at war with Israel. Nowadays, Egypt and Jordan have a peace agreement with Israel. Syria and Lebanon have sort of like a what's it called? A ceasefire, a truce, not a peace agreement, but sort of like they're not fighting with one another. And this isn't not including the Palestinian people that live in Israel, some of which, are fine with Israel, and a lot who have claimed and wanted the destruction of Israel. Okay, these are all very important things, because what I'm sharing with you today is the beginning of an understanding of a very complex situation. It's a country that's small, that's wanted by the Palestinians, by the Israelis, two people that have a history there. It's a place that's loved by many people, and it's a place that's surrounded. It's technically in a very good geographical location for like economics, which I won't get into, but safety-wise, it's not a very good place because they're surrounded by places that do not like it. And we're not going to have time to go into a lot of things, but there's a Mark Twain quote here that says the Jews are sort of like an immortal people, which we'll talk about later. But what we've seen today is a couple things. One, we talked about why Israel exists as a place to be a protection for Jews all over the world and in Israel, and as a place to be a light unto the nations. Talked about Israel, how it's changed over the years geographically because of wars, and how there are two nations within Israel who have claim to the land of Israel, and why it makes for such a difficult scenario. And then we've talked about it's a really small place. It's a really small place, but yet there are amazing things happening there despite how small it is. And also, throughout the history of the modern state of Israel, we've been surrounded by enemies, which have slowly gone away. But at the same time, there are still enemies around, which are very strong and very scary. So this is sort of all like a beginning to get you to understand sort of the complexities and specialness about Israel. Okay? Guys, have a great day. Have a great week. It's great seeing you guys again. And I'll see you soon.
All right, Zach.
Bye.